Well, hello, my lovely listeners. We have another wonderful episode of we're going to talk about magic and woo and all the magical woo that supports my orgasmic life and my frolicky nature. And today, actually, we're going to talk about fairies, which is like why I'm so frolicky. If you've spent any time with me, you and if you definitely have ever spent time with me, like either at the nudist resort or out in nature, you can see like I'm just like frolicky and I'm giggly and I'm laughing and I'm like that's the embodiment of my fairy nature. So again, if you're like, well, guys talking about her woo, that's okay. You don't have to be into my woo. You can be into all of my other things that I talk about. But the woo is an important part and one that I am leaning in because the universe, my, what I believe in, my connection to the divine, the universe, wants me to be more like forthcoming about this aspect of myself. And these aspects that I share with you are what makes me so orgasmic. It's what makes me raw. It's what makes me real. It's what makes me authentic. It's all of who I am. So that's why I share all of who I am with you, the world, to help you to inspire you to also embrace all of who you are, whatever aspects of that is, both your, you got your professional aspects, your emotional aspects, but you also have your spiritual aspects. And whether that spirituality is your belief in God, or your belief as a pagan, or your whatever it is that you believe, that is, the universe, your higher self, whatever it is, that spiritual part of you is an important part that makes you who you are. We are more than just flesh and bones, and we live and we die. Okay. So that's from my perspective, my belief system. Okay. And I only speak from my own belief system. You believe something else, have at her. I'm not going to ick your wow. You don't ick my wow. I won't ick your wow. I won't ick your sex wow. You don't ick my sex wow. I won't ick your spiritual wow. You don't ick my spiritual wow. Okay. Deal? Deal. Okay. So back to the fairies. So when I was a little girl, could you imagine me? I was adorable. When I was a little girl, I talked to all the animals. I talked to the plants. Now I was raised Catholic. And you're like, what? Yes, I was raised Catholic. And so for me, the animals talk to me, the trees talk to me, the plants talk to me. And then there were like the fairies that would show up for me that were like in like butterfly form or in like dragonfly form. And, and they would talk to me. And how I don't know, how that made sense to me as a kid was that from my Catholic upbringing, that God created everything in the universe. So therefore God was talking to me directly. That's how that worked for me. That's how my cute, adorable little brain uh, basically understood how I move in the world and how everything speaks with me and how God must be speaking with me. And that must be pretty awesome that I'm speaking directly with God. Yay me. Okay. So that was, needless to say, that didn't turn out so well when I started talking about that in Catholic school. that's that's another episode altogether. Okay. So again, the fairies. So I spend a lot of time with the fairies, the dragons, unicorns, like magical beings. Okay, so the unicorns, the fairies, the mer people, and the dragons, the unicorns. Okay, that's those are my four main magical species that I spend quite a bit of time with. I embody, I work with their gifts and their tools and their magics. I visit their dimensions. Like a lot of stuff happens for me with them. So let's talk about the fairies. I love the fairies. They're so much fun. Fairies are like awesome. So things that you need to know about fairies. If you didn't know, here's what you need to know about fairies. Fairies are very frisky. That's the first thing you need to know about the whole fairy realm, the nymphs, all this stuff. They are frisky, forward, and quite randy. Okay. That's first thing you need to know about fairies. The second thing, which of course, see how I'm very fairy like. The second thing that you need to know about fairies is that they're incredibly playful and they have not only this playful edge to them, but they have a mischievous edge to them, which is adds to their wonderful playful nature. Okay. Again, can you see the resemblance? Third thing you need to know about fairies is that they are incredibly curious and have this wonderment. There's like this awe and wonderment about the curiosity of the possibilities of everything. And there's a freedom in that. So, then the fourth thing that you need to know about fairies is that they love to support growth and creation, which is why they're frisky, because they work in creation energy, life force energy. Listen to the Sex Magic episode 240 to go into understanding more of what I mean by that when I say creation and life force energy and sex energy. That's why they're so frisky, because they're in that energy, because they're part of their job, their role is to help things grow and to help possibilities grow and nature grow. And so that's the role. Okay. So often as adults, so like if you spend time with kids are spend a lot of time with fairy energy. Right? They're in fairy energy, they're connected to fairy energy, they're playful, they're curious, there's wonderment, there's awe, there's like, a lot of kids are quite mischievous, or maybe that was just me as a child. um, so, and children, before like adults come and ruin everything, children tend to have no right or wrong or rules about like what is real and what's not real and what you see and what you don't see, and the perception of our limited perception of what we can see and feel and experience around us as an adult basically gets shut down. So when you see young children, you'll see them frolicking, you see them playing, you ask them what's going on. They have imaginary friends that aren't really imaginary. They like there's all these things that are happening for children. And then an adult comes along, or a couple of adults come along, and they wreck everything, and they tell them it's not real, that's not true, what they feel is not true, it's wrong, it's a make believe, it's your imagination, you have to grow up. Like these are the things that we're kind of taught. And what that does is it shatters our connection to those magical realms that are all around us on this plane of existence, but are all around us that we have access to when we're kids. So, and the more access you have to it, like the more open you are to it as a child, the more tends to be the adults kind of like, shoving that shit down. And it's not their fault. So I really want to say this. If you're listening, you're like, I'm an adult and I told my kids that. Or I'm an adult and like it's not really the adults' fault. That's what they've been taught. That's how they were taught. And then we go and we move to the next level of, okay, well, we believe in magic and fairy tales and make believe until a certain age. And at a certain age, it's like it's no longer true. It's just make believe. And the truth is that that's not really true. Some of that can be real, some of that can be true. And depending, and again, I won't ick your wow, you don't ick mine. For me, it's very true, even into my adulthood. I still see the world from this wonderful, magical place all around me and in awe of the magic all around me. And am excited to be a part of the magic that's all around me, which again, let's come back to the whole point of my orgasmic life. This is why I'm orgasmic so much. This is why the wind blows my nipple and I'm like hee hee and I have an orgasm. This is why, because I'm in the possibilities of what is not expected or what is not seen or what we've been told doesn't exist. So it's the impossible that, and believing in the impossible makes it possible. It does. And so if you're like, and let's be honest, adults and grown-ups are kind of poo-poo. They suck in a lot of ways. They're grumpy, they're miserable, they suffer, they're limited by their imagination. They don't have an imagination, which again interferes in their ability to creative problem solving, thinking outside the box, creating the life as an adult that you desire to have, because you lost the ability to see the wonderment and that everything is possible. Right now, you're moving from, as most adults, we've been taught to move from limited belief systems of what is possible. So fairies, calling in the fairies into your life can really, really help, because they love to frolic. They love making new friends. They love frolicking, and they love supporting people opening up. And you can see it and feel it in different things. So like music, for example, there's a lot of music that has that like do 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 kind of energy to it. It's like fairy energy, like dancing tiptoe through the tulips. Like it's this light energy to it. It's this like expressive energy, joy energy, celebration energy. Listen to more music like that. There's lots of classical music. There's lots of music. Hell, I just pulled up a playlist called Fairy Playlist on Spotify. Great, awesome fairy music. So dancing, celebration. So that's one way to kind of add a little bit of fairy magic into your day-to-day life. The other way is to celebrate. Fairies, other thing you need to know about fairies, they love flowers and sparkles. I don't know why, but that's just the thing. So as you can see, for everybody who's watching me, I have flowers in my hair. I'm honoring, and inside the flowers is some sparkly stuff. So where was I? Oh, yes, flowers and sparkles. Creation. Again, I'm going to talk about the fairies are all about creation energy, life force energy, creating and curiosity. So, when you are, the next time you're like, okay, I'm presented with a problem, instead of being like, okay, here are all the solutions that I think are possible, what if you went to the impossible realm? And one of the ways that you can kind of activate that within yourself is to ask some fairies. Hey, be like, hey, fairies of love and light, you want to come help me? You can just say that, just like that. Hey, fairies of love and light, you want to come help me? And you'll find that the fairies show up all over the place. They love to pop all over the place. They pop in, help you like, have a little play, a little creativity, a little fun, a little mischievousness, new possibilities, and off they go. So that's another great way. Dance, laughter, celebration, curiosity. Ask the fairies to come play with you. They love to play. And again, you want to use it terminology like repeat after me. Fairies of love and light, would you like to come play with me today? And then they start popping in all over the place. They're like, yeah, woohoo, fairy time. They're always in a party mode. Think of it that way. They're always in party mode. And you can have a surge of like when you're really feeling heavy. Like I know for, grown-uping time, which, sometimes is not very much fun at all. Like doing taxes, these kind of things that you have to do as a grown-up, responsible adult. You can get sucked into like the heaviness of it, the misery, the suffering, all the things, all the grown-uping stuff. And when I'm in that space, this is another way in which I kind of play around with the fairies, is that if I'm in that space and I'm having a day where I'm like, or I really seem to be sucked into, sadness or depression or like this heavy misery place that, I've had my feelings about. So it's not about denying, right? So I've had my feelings. I know what it is. I've changed whatever the problem happens to be. And I'm still stuck in that space. And that space is like really carrying me down. And I'm not in my like, woo, adventure, exploring. Everything is awesome. Yay. Let's have an orgasm place. I'm not in that place, which by the way does happen. I know you don't see it very often or hear it very often in our podcast, but it does happen. And so when I'm in that space, I will say that's exactly what I'll do. I'll be like, fairies of love and light, can you come play with me? And they pop in, and all of a sudden I can feel my energy shifting. It's like, okay, now I'm in that place of laughter and playfulness and curiosity and finding the ridiculous in everything. And if you spent any time with me, I can be talking about the most morbid, awful, even trauma-based stuff, and then finding humor in the ridiculousness of the experience and laughing. I could be crying, I could be laughing, all at the same time. And that ability to, and this is the truth of this, I've never really looked at it from before sharing this with you guys, as so many things happen on our podcast, is that my ability to laugh and find joy is my connection to the fairy magic, is my connection to my fairy self, is my connection to the fairies. Because no matter how dark, no matter how heavy something is, there also can be joy. There also can be lessons. There also can be creativity. There also can be curiosity. There also can be an impulsible life lesson that you couldn't see before. Like there's so many possibilities. And that's really what I think for me, spending time and being in fairy magic is about. Life is filled with the possibility of anything. And life is filled with the joy of life, period. Like joy, just pure joy for the sake of joy, not because somebody did something, not because there's an external reason for the joy, but joy at being alive. And that's what fairies carry, is this innate joy, the end, basically, of life. Life is joy. No matter what it presents, it has the possibility of creating joy and curiosity into more joy and playfulness. Playfulness can be everywhere, and it's not something that's just limited to when we're drunk or we're high. That's when we get to be silly, we get to be playful, we get to be mischievous. It's not just for when we're kids. It's not just for when we're at a party. It's for how we can choose to live. And that's the lessons that the fairies bring with them always. And they can also rebuild. That's the other beautiful thing I love about fairy energy and fairy magic, is that Fairies help to rebuild, create. That goes back to the freak, the friskiness they carry, all the sex magic, but it's also like they can help build. So, I just did an episode on vulture medicine, which is death magic, basically, is death magic. And it's about, releasing the old and letting go and dying to be space to be reborn. And the fairies are a crucial part of, when I'm using vulture medicine, I'm also using fairy magic as well, because after the death, there needs to be a rebirth, and fairies carry that and can help to rebirth. Who do you want to be? Who were you that no longer serves you? You can allow it to die and grieve that death and move through that, and then get on the other side. Who do you want to be? What do you want to create? And there again, anything is possible. All the things you didn't even think were possible are possible. And so you can have the fairies help you with that, help reinforce who do you want to be? What do you want to create? What do you want to manifest into your reality of who you are and how you move and what you think and what kind of relationships you have? Fairy magic is also very good for, growth of plants and wealth and ethical wealth. Like there's plenty of things. So if you're like interested in exploring playing with the fairies, it's very simple. They'll show up for you and they'll teach you everything you need to know about fairies. But very important, you have to ask them. And, you want to ask them just like this: universe of love and light, fairies of love and light, would you like to come play with me? Or I call in the fairies of love and light. But you must ask from a place of love and light, and ask the fairies to come frolic with you, play with you, teach you, whatever language resonates. Like I said, fairies are big frolickers. They like frolicking and they like playing. Those are their two favorite pastimes. Well, next to sex. So 3 favorite pastimes. Okay, that's it. That's all. That's all I got to say about fairies. If you want any help to enjoy the fairies and engage with the fairies, let me know. You can reach out to me at GaiaMorissette.com. Otherwise, I'd really lovingly invite you to just have them hang out with you, and they'll teach you everything you need. Mwah! Until next time, stay happy, stay frolicky, and don't forget, the impossible can become possible if you allow it. Mwah. Bye-bye. Well, I hope today's episode inspired you, encouraged you, and of course, made you feel tingly inside. I just want to take a moment to tell you how much I appreciate the time that you spend and how I really deeply appreciate you listening. I do it for you guys, the audience, and I love and adore you guys. So, quick loving reminder: I am not available for naked pictures, getting married, having sex, or having anybody's babies. And when you want to spend more time with me in a professional capacity as your coach, your teacher, your educator, your facilitator, you can reach me at GaiaMorissette.com. That's the gateway to all things Gaia. Now, if you're like, oh, I really wonder what's in the extended version. I also lovingly invite you to follow me on Instagram, which the handle is My Orgasmic Life Podcast, where you can leave feedback and comments. Also come join me on Facebook at My Orgasmic Life Podcast Facebook group. And I really want to hear from you. I want to know how this show affected you. What did you learn? Was it inspirational? Did you agree? Do you disagree? I want to know, because I'm a little bit of a voyeur. So I want to know how am I affecting you? So please, please, please come leave some comments. Now, if you're like, but I don't want everybody to know what I'm thinking, which is okay. Sometimes we need privacy and we need to be anonymous. So you would like that option? We have that. You can email my slutty assistant, Layla at GaiaMorissette.com. Okay, listeners, until next time, may your life be filled with sexy exploration and orgasmic pleasure. Mwah. Bye-bye.